Hey everyone, it's Julian from With Bravado, and you're watching 5 Questions, the show where I ask local bands and musicians 5 questions, and then we talk about stuff. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm joined today by Jeremiah of the Ellie Badge. Holy cow, thanks for being here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Exciting. Your hair is rosy red.
Rosy red.
That's
for
natural.
Secret reasons.
Supernatural. Yep.
Yeah.
It's with a dark beard.
There you go.
Let's get right to it. Right. Number 1. What are the top things you've seen bands do right? You and I have both played a million shows. We've both
it's been a while.
Seen
in my old age.
A ton of things in our old age. What are things you've noticed bands that do really well?
Okay, so I think there's like 2 angles for that. I think on like an artistic level and then like on a technical level.
Okay,
so
yeah, for sure, I get it.
Yeah, like I don't know, I put a lot of thought into this. Like on an artistic level, it's definitely one of those things where I think the more captivating bands are the ones that you can tell that they care about what they're doing. They're not just writing songs for pop music. They're not just writing songs just to write songs, which I think there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with being a songwriter for sure.
Like, it's a product, and you can do a lot of really interesting stuff for it, you know. But I think the most interesting bands to me have always been the weirder ones, the ones that are like
eccentric, kind of
like you can tell that they're into it. Like maybe the singer's voice cracks every now and then, but you can tell he believes it, you know. It's like,
he's rocking hard.
Oh yeah, exactly. But on the flip side of that, on the technical side, one of the big problems I see is that people are all about the art of it, and people are all about the feeling of it,
the authenticity.
But they're not about the performance. They're not packaging it properly. So it's like you can tell there's substance, or there might be substance, but you can't tell really because it's not being packaged and given to you. So there are those kind of 2 schools of thought, the sort of play what you feel, it really doesn't matter how it sounds, and then like the perfection side of things where it's like hyper polished for the precision listening performance, you know, like we're like, this is perfect sounding, but it may be personalityless. Oh yeah.
But then there's something over here that may be full of personality but completely unapproachable.
Yeah, it's raw and hard to get into. Well, in a performance level, specifically I don't know, the Dolly Parton quote that always gets me is when she says, "It takes a lot of money to look this cheap." You know?
Oh, okay.
So in that sense, I think that applies to music and performance in a way of it takes a lot of time and practice and performance and rehearsal in order to look like it's totally natural. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to try so hard to make it look normal.
Because this is not a daily thing. You don't walk around playing awesome rock shows.
Yeah, exactly.
It's there's a lot of lead into it.
Exactly. I think one of the big problems with younger bands and a lot of seasoned bands is they don't transition their songs well. It's like my big thing when I go to a show that drives me insane is when a band plays a song and the minute they're done with the song, they just kind of look at each other like
they fall apart.
Yeah, they're like, "So what's up, guys?" And then one of them starts tuning, and then they're like, "Okay, so should we start the next song?" "Okay, I guess." And then they'll start it. No. Practice where you know exactly what you're going to be doing between the first and second song. You know what you're going to be doing between the third. You know, when we did our cover band thing, we were like, "Okay, between this song we're going to do this. Between this song we're going to do this." Before the rhythm guitar even fades, the lead guitar is going to start the next song.
Right.
You gotta get it down to a science.
That makes sense because bands don't talk well.
Yeah.
So when the song ends, if there's nothing to do, bands kind of fall apart.
Exactly.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you're a front man, if you've got vocal duty, practice what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Don't just kind of be like, "Oh, I'm gonna whiff it," and I'm just gonna riff off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Practice. Practice in the mirror what you're gonna say and what you're gonna look like. Everything. Make sure it's
as silly as that sounds, because my image goes to Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit being like, "Everybody get up," you know, and it's like he recorded that in the studio where there was no one there, you know. It's like like the engineers back there standing, you know. That's all that was there.
But they were all like, "We want this to feel like this person's at the show."
Right.
So they get to the show, it feels natural.
Yeah. I mean, I can't stand Fred Durst, but it is definitely that's
definitely not one of my heroes.
Just the idea. Wes Borland, however, great guitar player.
You need more than 4 strings, though, Wes.
Oh dear, I don't know. Are there more than 4? I don't know if there are. Hey, so question number 2. What are the top things you've seen bands do that could use improvement? We may have dabbled in that a little bit.
Yeah, I jumped ahead.
No, it's okay. No, not at all.
So the things that they do well are good transitions, really feeling it and all that kind of thing, like good image and all that kind of thing. Things that they could do better, all those things. But I think the one thing like that bands really need to sell is a narrative.
Okay.
I like the idea when a band, like, I can go look up a band, or I can listen to a band, or I can like look up the web presence of a band and know what they're about. Okay.
So it's not just a bunch of people like at train tracks with their arms crossed or whatever. It's like, okay, we're a band, but there's a trend or there's a personality throughout the music.
Well, that and just you want to control the narrative of your band, or have somebody in control that knows what they're doing.
Well, yeah. Because there might be 4 or 5 temperaments in the band.
Exactly.
So like if you have all of those going at all at one time, you may lose that spearhead of.
Oh yeah.
What is the band about?
Well, it's also about, like, what are you doing? Like, how is your band releasing things? Like, make sure you control how you're perceived. Because let's say you're going in to record your first ever demo or something, and, like, you want to record a nice thing to put out for people to hear or to sell at shows. You don't just record it and then the minute you get your thing back, put it online for people to hear. Like that. Yeah. You make sure that, like, when everything's done, you have a schedule. So, like, let's say you get it back June 1st. And you're like, this sounds really good. I want to release this in September. Or I want to release August. If you're not really that big of a band, you can shrink it. Then you need to plan out your dates.
Like 60 days to promote, get hype up, and get energy for it. Yeah.
Plan out how your band is being shown. So, like, you get your stuff back on June 1st. Oh, this is great. By then, you should already know what song you want to be a single. Make a video, release that video sometime in July, and then make sure that when you release that video the day of, you have like a newspaper interview, or you have somebody promoting it. You have exclusive premieres through some website.
Well, yeah, just like that is something that I've seen before, where like a really good band will just release stuff, and it's like, it's Wednesday. You know what happens on Wednesday? Our album came out. It's like, it's like, wait a minute, this is an incredible record, but no one knows about it.
Exactly.
No one.
You're not Beyonce. You're not Kanye West. No one cares when you drop an album. You have to trick them into caring.
Yeah, where it's like you build almost a campaign for it. It's like this thing. And what do you think? An album cycle's like what, 5 months? Maybe if you have like multiple singles and it's an LP or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
so like it would I'd hate to like essentially set all the fireworks off at once.
Yeah. Well, it's also just like you have this amazing product, and it all depends on how you release it. If I don't know, if you knew the ending to Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones come out, or some big show, if you knew the ending to your favorite movie, would you bother watching it?
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah,
there's a journey to it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a narrative.
Yeah, I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones, so don't ruin Game of Thrones for me. I've never seen an episode.
Don't. It's good.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. It might, but if it was good, people would watch it. So
there you go. But that gets into the philosophical quandary here. If it's good, doesn't mean necessarily someone's going to watch it.
Right.
Yeah, like you have to. We were talking about this earlier. Like you have to have channels for people to have access to it, for people to be aware of something. You can't just drop the best album in the world, and if you don't tell anybody, if you're not getting blogs pointed your way, if you're not if people aren't seeing advertisements,
album reviews, things like that.
Yeah, endorsements are a big deal.
Yeah, I've never been endorsed by anybody, but
me neither.
Yeah, that'd be neat. I know people who are endorsed, and they're neat.
Yeah. I'm just talking like some verified person on Twitter says, "Hey, I really like this band."
Yeah, that would be enough. Just to have somebody with more likes than you on, just to shout out what you're doing. Hey, question number 3. What does your songwriting process look like? Holy cow, you're a one-man band, kind of-ish?
I brought notes.
Okay,
and on my notes here, I just wrote shrug emoji, because it's really up in the air. I've been doing this since I was like 15. I've been playing music a long time, but like I started writing songs when I was like 15, and I would just like I learned how to use Audacity and recording software and stuff when I was a teenager.
I remember that too.
Oh yeah, right. It was great. But like I would just sit around and record stuff, and like I started on a 4-track and then got into Audacity and like would record stuff and then just write it over and over, and then I would just do like just instrumental stuff at first, and then eventually I'd come up with lyrics.
You kind of loop stuff? Is that you use like looping stuff? And
Well, originally it was just me being. I didn't have any loopers for a long time, but like I would just record stuff into my computer. Like I would lay out like a MIDI drum track, and then I would record stuff with my guitar over it or keyboard or whatever, and just like kind of like create a digital song and write it while I was recording it. You know, just like, this might sound cool. Oh, that didn't sound cool. Or like, this might sound cool. That does sound cool. And then just keep adding to it.
Yeah.
And eventually I would write a lot of songs. And then years later, after I'd spent tons of time on the same songs, I would add lyrics and stuff. And that's kind of how things worked for a really long time.
So you do lyrics at the end?
Sometimes.
Okay.
At first it was I did all instrumentals and then went back and recorded and like wrote lyrics for those songs when I felt comfortable.
And with Bravado, we always do the lyrics last.
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
Like
you're like a really technical band though.
Well, it's we're very technical. We're very math metal. But yeah,
I mean, you'll do some crazy stuff.
But it's like for us, like the vocals are probably not as good as the music itself. So like we our music is our strong suit. So like it's sort of like
we're there to watch you shred, Julian. It's okay if you say that.
Well, just
we're there to watch you shred.
Intellectually, the music happens, and then the words happen for us, And
fair.
And in Sleeping Seasons, CJ's a much better singer than I am, so like it's like I'm in the band Sleeping Seasons as well, so like I'm able to watch that. But like
check him out.
CJ is CJ is so much a good singer. He tends to write vocals and music at the same time.
Well, yeah, I think as you get more comfortable with songwriting, they just start to kind of happen at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
That's how it got for me. Like I started with just doing music and then got into doing lyrics later when I felt more confident. And I didn't let people hear stuff for a long time because I was shy. Yeah. But then eventually when I got okay with it, now it's one of those things where instead of writing out a cool riff and then writing lyrics over it, I'll just like, if I get a cool lyric idea, I'll write it out on my phone. I have tons of notes in my phone with ideas. And if I get a cool riff idea, I'll record it on my phone. Whatever.
Yeah. And I've got a phone full of
exactly.
full of videos.
Or just like an idea will pop in my head, and I'll just be like da 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 da, and then I'll just
like your voice memos or whatever, just like full of like
weird little that could be a chorus or something, and then I'll just sit home and grab a guitar or something and like figure it out and be like, oh, that could be the chorus of that, and then several years later, I'll be like, oh, remember that chorus I wrote a long time ago? Cool. And then it'll be a song. Whatever.
Yeah, like my memory's so bad that like if I don't record it, like my memory just and the song is gone.
The cell phone is the greatest tool for anyone that's ever been a songwriter because you're just like, oh my god, it helps so much.
I don't think that the cell phone will ever catch on. So
it's fair.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think you guys should invest.
Yeah, I don't.
Mad money up here.
I don't think the internet's going to do it. Okay, number 4. What are the qualities you look for in a bandmate? Now, this is what I was talking about earlier, where like this does vary from band to band.
I look for long hair.
Yeah.
Blue jeans.
There we go.
You know.
I have both, but so do most musicians. So
that's a good point. Okay, for bandmates, this is where I get a little weird. Like I said, I've been doing it all myself for a long time, so I've had a lot of trouble with bandmates, and it's not their fault at all. It's my fault because it's like for a long time, like I said, I was shy, so I wouldn't push it hard enough. So like if I would get people together, and when people messed up, I wouldn't be like, hey, stop it. This is how it's gonna go.
Okay.
I would just kind of let them do their own thing, and
like there wasn't there was a less creative directiveness coming from you than maybe there could have been.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was never me. What's the word over here? It was all like, hey, let's play my songs, and then they'd be like, okay, and then they wouldn't learn my songs.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like, okay, well, in this part, that's supposed to do that, and you didn't learn that, but whatever, we'll be fine.
Right, and so but then that like turns into sort of like the song morphing into something. Sometimes that can be really cool.
Sometimes it can, but it never worked out that way for me.
Yeah, and like if you hadn't heard the Ellie Badge, I mean, like I've seen you perform. A lot of it's really eccentric. It's interesting. There's like looping going on, a ton of that.
Yeah.
And like, but I can tell that you've got these ideas, and that like if those ideas don't sort of come across, then that's your song,
Yeah, and I've just always had problems because I've never wanted to like force people to play my way.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to like pay them, so I feel bad being like, no, you're playing it this way.
Yeah.
So when I look forward in a bandmate, personally, if they were playing my songs, it would be like if they were dedicated enough to play them, and if they were legitimately interested in being in my band. Like, I don't have the money to supplement your lack of interest. Yeah. So if I had money, dope.
Well, and it's like, and that's where you like run into like trying to find people then who are like willing to jump onto a moving train.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we're like that. We've had people who, when we like the studio killed our band. Like we went into studio, recorded our first album, and then. This is with Bravado, not Sleeping Seasons. Sleeping Seasons was always doing fine. But with Bravado, went into the studio, recorded the record, and I was the only remaining member.
Yeah.
You know, and so like,
I feel that.
So like I was having to like beg people, hey, please come on, but you got to play these parts already written for you. And you know, sometimes
how did you do that?
What's difficult because it's hard to get people to be like, yeah, we can definitely do this, and play your parts because like it's your song and sometimes, you know, sometimes you get like studio musician mentality types that are completely okay with playing something they didn't create.
Yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't work, you know, and so, you know, as we went along, I relaxed my grip a little bit and began to trust sort of the people that I had in the band at the moment. And sort of sometimes the stuff would work and sometimes it wouldn't.
Fair.
And so like, you know, I was kind of learning where to sit in terms of like directing.
Yeah,
that sound, especially one that was already recorded. You know,
that's been my problem though. Yeah, I've been able to. I have an iron grip on what my vision is, and I've just been like, no, it's gonna sound like this, or it's not gonna sound like anything. Yeah. And then I think I need to. Yeah, in recent years, like I went to grad school, took a chill pill for a while, kind of just figure out the stuff.
College killed you for a few years.
Yeah, I was just kind of like I came back to the point where I was like, you know, collaborative energy is so much better. It can be so much better than when you're just working by yourself. And I need to kind of rely on my drummer or my hired whatever, or this bass player that got to kind of do the riff instead of me, you know, and maybe like put their own little spin on it. And from there, it's just kind of find people that you agree with creatively. It's hard. It's hard to find.
It is difficult. It's super hard. And then like having the expectations laid out, like where I've had people like where we lost members and I had like certain expectations and people were like, nah, man, not me. You know, it's like, oh.
Well, it takes a big commitment to be in a band, especially a band that wants to play shows, and most people don't have that time. You know?
Yeah, they don't, or they're beginning to have kids or whatever and stuff like that.
Especially at our age,
Yeah, Jeremiah's so old.
I'm 28. I missed the train on pop punk. I can never be in a pop punk band now.
But and then especially like if you want to do some like local touring or something like that, or if you're a band where like there's several bands in town who go out for a week or so, and it's like you got to figure out who's got that kind of schedule.
Yeah, you know, like whose job is going to let them just leave for a week, you know?
Right.
Like my job doesn't.
Yeah, and most people's wouldn't, so it would be hard to sort of like figure that kind of scheduling thing out. But you know, there are people who can have as stand-ins and stuff like that occasionally.
It's also like. Your band, if you're expecting people to treat your band like a job, they need to be compensated like a job. If they're not getting enough enjoyment out of it, just being in a band and having fun, they need to be paid, you know, because otherwise they're missing work, they're missing their life, and being your band.
Maybe we need to do a segment sometime where it's like, you know, bands that don't get paid, because that's all of us.
Yeah, we really don't.
I think that we spent money on our last record, and I think the Spotify money that we've gotten back is something like $16. So,
when did y'all release that record?
August? No, September.
September? Hasn't been that long.
It hasn't been super long, but like $15. You know, it's like
I get like
16 something like that.
I get like 10, maybe $15 every like 6 months to a year from all my stuff on Spotify.
Right. Yeah.
What does it is Deezer.
I don't know what Deezer is.
Deezer is like an international Spotify. It's like licensed out everywhere else, and a lot of listens come from just like some random kid in Argentina or some Indonesian kid that's just like, let me check out this random band, and you know.
I'm really resisting a Deezer nuts joke here. Was unsuccessful. Okay, number 5. Question 5. Any advice for up and coming musicians? You've made mistakes. You've had victories. What are your?
I have made every mistake.
No, I have made every mistake.
Okay.
We have made all the mistakes.
My greatest mistake, I kind of talked about already, is like just do it. Like Nike, man. Like just like I spent so much time being like, okay, well, when the right opportunity arises, I'll start singing my songs, or I don't know, I don't want to play this gig, it's not that cool, or like, I just kind of keep doing this. No, just do it. It's so nerve-wracking, but just do it. You're never going to be any younger. I don't know. If you really want to be in a band and you have the opportunity to like schedule shows, go on a tour or something, but like, I don't know, your job's getting in the way, or college is getting in the way or something, this is gonna sound super blasphemous, drop out of school. Dude, like, it's so real. The best advice I ever got was about music.
Today we're sponsored by the GED programs of Memphis.
Well, okay, no, like, listen, the best advice I ever got.
I totally get it. Yeah.
I had a music production engineering professor named Mark Snyder. Hey Mark, what's up? He's a great guy. Still talk to him to this day. He's rad.
Hey, you just did.
Yeah, he's super smart dude. He was in a ton of bands in the 90s and did a lot of really cool stuff. He's super talented, super good, but he's super harsh. And I've never had a teacher just punch me in the face
just
as hard
open
as
up.
he did.
Yeah.
Well, he was just really cruel, and he never in a good way, but he never sugarcoated anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So one day he straight up was just like he straight up was just like, you're only young once. You can always go back to school.
Right.
Like, if you want to be in a band, drop out and go be in a band. And I was just like,
wow,
yeah, you're right. But then I didn't do it. Do it. If you want to be in a band, go be in a band.
Well, that's just it. Like, complacency is one of those, and fear, especially. Like, I'm an introvert. I'm a quieter person, so like, you tend to like think before you move a lot of times, and and you weigh the options. Risk versus reward, and like, there's a lot of risk for like, just going out and doing music. But I mean, like, you really do only like, you only get to appeal to that age group at a certain time or whatever. People aren't coming out to see maybe like 50-year-old pop artists. Maybe they are.
Unless
I don't
they're
know.
the classics.
Yeah,
that's really how it is, though. Because you have to be okay with sleeping on couches, not showering for several days. You have to be okay with eating a lot of PBJs. You have to be okay with sleeping in a van sometimes. You have to be okay. You have to schedule things where. Like, my big problem always is, how am I going to afford to take the time off work to tour?
Yeah.
How am I going to afford to tour? All this other stuff. And it's hard. If you don't have a solid job that'll give you vacation time, or you don't have someone bankrolling you in some way, or you're not... Like, if you aren't getting, like, hundreds of thousands of, like, plays online.
And that's where you get, like, the weekend warriors who go out for, like, 48 hours and come back, and then they go back to work for 4 days or 5 days or whatever. And
totally. Like, like, you're a teacher. You have summers off.
Yeah.
I hopefully will be a teacher one day.
Yeah.
And we'll get summers off. I think that's a wonderful way to do it. Like, the problem is it takes a while to get there. So if you're like 18, you can't be a teacher. So that's the problem, is you need to realize that as bad as it is, you have to be willing to sacrifice a lot. Like, maybe you don't see your family, or you have a girlfriend, maybe you don't see her for a really long time because you're off touring. Maybe you can't afford to have your own place. Maybe you live with your parents still, like... I remember when I was a kid, remember Cribs, MTV Cribs?
I never watched it because I was late to everything. I still am.
Okay, well, Cribs was this show where celebrities would show you their homes.
Ooh.
Usually they were fake.
Oh, okay.
Totally, it was just like, oh yeah, Master P showing you his like mansion.
I super live here, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Master P has a lot of money, but like a lot of times it would just be a fake house, and they'd be like, here's this product in my fridge that is not sponsored, I promise.
Right.
But the best one ever was Stevo, the drummer from Sum 41, had his Cribs episode, and this is Sum 41. They were like, Fat Lip had already come out, Into Deep had already come out. They were huge. And he did Cribs of his mom's house. And it was just like, hey, MTV Cribs, welcome to my parents' house. This is where I live right now. And he's in this amazingly successful internationally touring group, and he lives with his parents.
But like that makes, I guess that makes sense if you spend 8 days a year at home, or something like that.
Like, what's the point of paying rent in something you're never going to be at?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, and there's a calculated risk to it and stuff like that. There's like telecommuting jobs and stuff like that you can do or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're right. There is a risk if you really want to like chase this rabbit down the hole. It can be risky.
Like Jeff Rosenstock, he was in a band called Bomb the Music Industry. Oh, he was in the Bomb. Yeah, he's Bomb the Music Industry. And now he does a solo career, just Jeff Rosenstock, and he does temp work. He's really successful on like medium tier bands, mid tier, and he's really fun and great. He tours with a lot of my favorite bands. And that dude still does temp work. When he's not on tour, he picks up a graphic design job, he picks up a secretary job or something, and he does a really good job.
Yeah, and a lot of those pay well.
So,
You
they pay
know,
really well. I mean, if you're good at it.
yeah, if you sign on for 3 or 4 weeks, whatever. Any other advice for up and coming young whippersnappers just picking up a guitar for the first time?
If anyone ever tells you, like, okay, just do it. Okay, just go play open mics, pick up a guitar, learn to play songs when people ask you to play your songs, play as many as you can. If anyone ever laughs at you or makes fun of you for it, they're just jealous.
They don't know.
They wish they could play guitar. They wish they could write a song.
They're the worst.
If you're 14 and you just wrote the cringiest love song ever, own it. You are 14. You are supposed to write cringy love songs.
Do it.
Do it.
Sweet.
Just do it.
Well, it's about that time. It's about the way that we end this kind of thing is that we count to 3.
Okay.
And clap, and you disappear.
That's amazing.
1, 2, 3. Where'd he go? He's probably off being tall somewhere. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, do the like, share, and subscribe thing. It would really help me out, and it's going to help out the bands and musicians that we have on the show. Their information's in the description. I look forward to making another episode as soon as possible, but in the meantime, support your local music community, and I'll see you next time.